Hey everyone, it's Jason. Welcome back to another Union Arena unboxing set. So here we have Booster Packs Series 3 and Series 4. So we're going to jump into Jujutsu Kaisen and then Code Geass, Bleach of the Rebellion. This is going to be a multi-part video. I'll do Code Geass in a separate video than Jujutsu Kaisen. Jujutsu Kaisen might end up getting broke up into a two-part video because we also have the starter deck to go over. Plus, I have 20 packs, and I have 17 of Code Geass. You just couldn't find as many. So I did end up watching Season 1 of Jujutsu Kaisen because I was like, hey, I've heard a lot about this. If I'm going to sit here and do an unboxing, it would be nice to go through it. Because I know, like, the previous Union Arenas I went through, 1 and 2 were Bleach, 1000 Year War, which at the time I watched Bleach, but I had not watched 1000 Year War yet. I have as of this point. I'm caught up to at least most of the newest episodes. I'm in Season 3 of it now, so, yeah, now I know who, like, most of the characters are. At the time, I didn't know who lots of them were. And I'd watched HunterXHunter, so I knew who pretty much remembered almost all those characters. So I did watch Season 1 of Jujutsu Kaisen. I don't know how far this extends into the series, so it's going to potentially be spoilers for me, depending on how far it goes in, just new characters and stuff like that. And then Code Geass, I tried to watch. I did went and looked up. It's only available on Crunchyroll at this time, that I could find anywhere, and I had to buy it through Amazon Prime. I just didn't want to purchase it right now. But I did do a little bit of research on it, as I went and looked up the trailer, and I watched like a couple of video clips on YouTube. I didn't realize it was a mecha anime. I mean, it doesn't seem like it's 100% that, but there's a lot of that. So it's kind of interesting. Alright, so we're gonna go ahead and hop into these. So let's start off with the Jujutsu Kaisen starter deck. Now, if for some reason this is your first Union Arena video, you didn't watch the previous ones, why it's Union Arena and then different animes is the idea it's called a common card game. So the idea is that it has the same type of rules and setup for each different one, and they can plug in any different anime or different titles in there. They're coming up. I think they have like 6 or 7 more titles already lined up. But yeah, then so someone can just sit down, we can just play Bleach, or you can just play Jujutsu Kaisen. Or you could play HunterXHunter versus Code Geass. Or you could mix and match cards from one set to the other. So it's kind of a neat idea. And then another really interesting point of this are these action point cards, which we'll get into. Which you get up to 3 of them, so you have 3 actions per turn. So instead of having a generalized cost of what you're playing, like, oh, I didn't produce enough resources to play this, you get action points. So in the starter deck here, we're going to get 7 commons, 16 uncommons, 3 rares, 2 super rares, and 1 action point card. 18 different types in total. Now, this is different types. Doesn't mean that we're only getting that many cards. We're still getting a 50-card deck and 3 action points. Just those different ones. One reason to pick up these starter decks we found out from the other video is they will have some cards that are kind of exclusive to the starter deck. They weren't like... And again, this might fall a little bit differently, but they weren't like 100% exclusive. They're like alt arts, which were really cool. Yeah, so we're just going to take a brief review through our rules here. So there's the 4 main cast members for Jujutsu Kaisen. So yeah, over here we have a life total, so it keeps track of how much damage you can take, and then you lose the game. Front line, energy line, and AP area down there. We have some keywords, and our attack phases are start, movement, main, attack, and an opponent's turn. And then we have some keywords, which we'll kind of keep that around to come back to. So one other thing that's also fun about this is that have different colors in each set. And Bleach had 2 colors, or 3 colors. HunterXHunter had 3 colors, and Jujutsu Kaisen is going to have 3 colors. But there was two colors were shared between Bleach and Hunter, and they each had their own different colors. And this one also has the same idea, is you'll share two colors with one of them and a different one from the third. Alright, so we're just going to do a quick reminder overall of what everything is here. What you need to play, all these different cards. You have character cards, site cards, event cards. You can only card the same source material code. First 3 letters in that may be included in a deck. Up to 4 cards of the same card number may be included in a deck. Oh, okay. So, I was wrong. I thought you could mix and match these, but I guess you can't. You're not technically supposed to mix and match them. But the same source code. So, it's going to be like... first 3 numbers of the card one. So if we look at our first card here, let's just look at the bottom down here. We have UE003 starter deck. So it's just saying Union starter deck number 3. We have JJK for Jujutsu Kaijin, and that's a set 1 card number 036. So any JJK or Jujutsu Kaijin can be mixed together, but not other ones. All right. Yeah, so there. So shuffle your deck, determine player order, draw 7 cards, may redraw your starting hand, take 7 cards, mulligan, begin with player taking their first turn. Up to 4 characters can be placed in your front line. Up to 4 of your characters in any combination can be played in your energy line. Your front line energy line is called your field. So you do have an energy resource management. I kind of said you game, but you do and you don't, because you have action points as well that you're going to dictate what you can do. So someone can't, like, get, like, oh, I have 40 energy, I can do a ton of stuff, and the other person's like, oh, I didn't play enough stuff, you know. How you win the game. Your opponent has no cards in their life deck, or your opponent has no cards remaining in their deck at the start of their phase. Alright, start phase. Switch out your characters. All your resting characters are active. Make sure you have the appropriate number of AP cards in your AP area for the turn. So, player 1 gets 1 card, player 2 has 2, and then it'll be 2 cards, and then 3 beyond we each have 3. Draw a card. Once per turn, you may pay 1 AP to take an extra card, drawing 1 additional card. To pay AP, take 1 active AP, and switch it to resting. Movement phase, move as many characters like from your energy line to your front line. Main phase, use a card. Choose a card in your hand, you can have the required energy for it and pay its AP cost. Required energy is fulfilled by the energy generation icons on cards in your energy line. The color of this energy generation icon must match the required energy. You choose to play a character into either your front line or your energy line. Side cards only play in your energy line. Characters and side cards played on the field. Rest are placed into your event cards are placed in your sideline. So its total number of energy generation is 3. So on the bottom of each card, they'll have these big dots. You can say how many energy they have. They'll either be typically 1 or 2 dots. I think there are some guys that have 3. Some guys like this have a plus, which means they have something that's going to gain them additional energy. So if you have 3 blue energy, you can use any of the cards required with a cost of 3 or less. But this is also a really neat aspect of this game. So if I have 3 energy in there, I have 3 energy used to play a card. If I play 2 cards, I can play 2 cards and each cost 3. I don't have to have 6 requirement in there. So again, that's what makes this a very interesting game, because it's not, oh, I had a deck that ramps up energy resource quicker than you, so I can play more cards. You only get X number of actions to play. Every action takes a use, and then you can only have up to so many energies, so it's kind of cool. Some characters have raid. Use a main ability on a card on your field. You may activate main cards by fulfilling the requirement. Then if we go to a attack phase, attacking character declaration. Select an active character in your front line to attack. Switch that character resting. The opposing player is normally the only thing you can target. Blocking declaration. The attacking player may choose to block an attack with a character. If they do this, they select the back the character. So this makes it more like Magic the Gathering versus some other games. You are attacking the player, they get to choose who to block with. If the target as a character. Uh, check your battle points. The battle points of the attacking character equal or greater, the attacking character wins the battle. If the is less than, the blocking character wins the battle, and the attacking character loses. The attacking character is not sidelined after losing. Attacking your opponent, you damage your opponent. When select one card in your opponent, select one of the cards in your life area of your opponent. For each point of damage you dealt, the damage player checks the triggers on all those cards. If your opponent has no life remaining, they win the game. And then you can trigger cards and might activate special abilities. And then the end phase. If there are any more abilities to activate, switch all resting characters. You have more than 8 cards in your hand. Choose a card to keep any activate abilities. So, pretty simple. Yeah, so it's a very simple, quick game to play. There's always more stuff in there. Cool. Alright, so we're going to go ahead and hop into this. We just want to do a brief re-rundown of all of our cards. And then we are going to look at one of our first cards here. And then we'll look at some of the information on them quick. So up at the top we have Kiyotaka Agiji. So he has blue border obviously says blue up there, cost 0, does have 1 action to play. So you have your 3 action points. And that's just going to determine, basically the more powerful cards you have are going to cost more actions to use. So again, it's not how much energy or how many resources you have to play cards. It is based on the action points and having enough energy as well, but that can be changed. So he's a character, 1000 BP, stuff common. He has a plus down here, it says a blue energy. It says active main, switch to resting. Once per turn, this character gains blue energy generation until the end of the turn. At the end of the main phase, sideline this character. So the idea here is you put him out for 0 cost, so you can get him out on your first turn if you want. Then what you can do is you can, any other turn, you can switch him to resting once per turn to gaining additional energy. So this lets you get above the maximum you currently have out. But then he's only good for 1 turn, then he just disappears. So it's kind of like, oh, I can play a higher cost character for 1 turn, then now I lose an energy for the next turn. So cool. So we got 4 copies of him. So I'm assuming we have 4 copies of just about every card except for some of the rares. Alright, so our next card up is Yuja Itadori, our main character. So again, 0-1 cost. He has no special abilities, he has 15. But he does have a trigger. It says, get this card, add this card to your hand. So this is, yeah, so if he's in your life stack and your opponent attacks and he gets destroyed, you add him back to your hand. So it's just an extra card there. And I just said we have 4 copies. And immediately we have 2 copies of Nobara Kugasaki. Hopefully I don't butcher all these names too bad. So she does cost 1 point. But she has, it's an uncommon. She also produces 2 blue energy. When played, return 1 other character on your field with 1 or less required energy to your hand. If you cannot, return this character to your hand. So this is kind of like another way to mitigate some of that energy cost. You can play someone else right off the bat. So this could be a great way, like turn 1 you play Yuji, right? You're like, but I'm going to want to use him for something else later. Or maybe I don't want to attack with him or whatever. And then he has 1. You drop her down. Now she costs 2. So overall, instead of playing 2 characters that each cost 1, which takes up 2 of your 4 slots, you're only taking up 1 slot. But now you have another card back. So you could also trigger out other characters that maybe have on-play abilities, things like that. We have 2 copies of Sakura Gojo, who costs 2. If this character is active, it gains a blue energy generation. So as long as he's active, he'll gain 1. So he has 25, so you're probably going to want to attack with him. But if you don't, he can help produce some extra stuff. We have 4 copies of Megami Fushiguro. When played, choose up to a character at 1500 more BP of your opponent's field. It loses 1000 BP till the end of turn. So you can drop him down, and it's basically going to make it so your opponent's not going to block with that character. I do want to point this out, though. So we have card number 36, 37, 44, 45, and then 56. So these are just additional cards that were in the set. Like, so if I just picked up booster packs, I could have gotten all of these characters. We'll get to a couple here at the end, which are all going to be like special ones. I'm not sure exactly what number it hits into, but we will get some. Alright, then we have 2 copies of Masamichi Yaga. These little puppets. Character, active main, switch to wrestling. Choose one other character on your field. It gains 1000 BP till the end of the turn. So another character that boosts up. Then we have some action cards. Well, I guess they're event cards. We have 2 copies of Divergent Fist, who is main attack. Choose a character with 5000 BP or less on your opponent's front line and return it to their hand. If Yuji is on your field, sideline it instead. So that's pretty cool. So it does cost 4, which is pretty big, but you basically get to eliminate one of your opponent's biggest characters. And so far, we haven't seen anybody with even 5,000. We've seen 25. And then he has a trigger. It's a special. Choose one character on your opponent's front line and sideline it. So you immediately get rid of one of your opponent's characters. We have 4 copies of Sukuna's Finger, one of the main points of the game, or the anime. You cannot use this card unless you place 1 card from your life into your sideline, or switch 1 active Yuji card on your field to resting. Draw a card, shoot up to one of your AP cards, and switch it to active. Oh, so that's a cool idea, right? So you can either sacrifice your life to play this card, which gets you an additional card and lets you regain one of your AP cards, so you gain extra action during the turn. But if you have Yuji, you get to basically do it for free. And there's a trigger. You get to draw a card. So if you get this in there, you at least get a card draw out of it. We have 2 copies of Domain Expansion, the big special super technique. Choose up to 2 of your AP cards and switch them to active. This is what's also really fun about the way this Union Arena game is. So each different set has different type of things it does. I don't remember specific off the top of my head exactly what the Bleach and the HunterXHunter ones did, but this one is going to play around with reactivating your AP cards. It's the second one we've seen. So it's kind of letting you gain extra actions over other groups. It does have a trigger. It says final. If you have 0 life, place the top card of your deck into your life area. So these final ones are kind of neat, because they're only going to trigger if you have 0 life. So otherwise, any other point in the game, they're not going to do anything. So they might not hit that often. But if this hits, that's going to be a 100% a lifesaver. Alright, so those were all the ones I believe that are in the main game you could have gotten extra copies for. Then we have some that are alt arts. So I believe these ones are only available in the starter deck because they jump up to card number 101. So we have 2 copies of Yuji Itadori. During your opponent's turn, if Sakuna's Finger is in your sideline, this character gains 1000 BP. So that's cool. I love that it has a little plus on there, so we know he has a possible. He has 2 energy. Active. Choose 1 character on your field and switch it to active. It gains 3000 BP till the end of the turn. Nice. So we get to basically reuse somebody. We have 4 copies of Nobara Kugasaki. Just has 3000, so we're getting some more powerful characters. Active, choose a character on your field and switch it to active. It gains 3000 BP till the end of turn. 2 copies of Satoru Gojo. So he has a couple extra cool things on here. So first up at the top, he costs 5 and he has 2 actions. You can only have 4 character cards, or 4 cards in your energy lineup. So this means if you only have 4 guys each have 1 dot, you'll never be able to play Gojo. So you have to have at least 1 extra person with a double. So of all of our cards in here, so far out of all of these, the only one we had with a double early on was, why can't I seem to find her? Was Takasuri. So she's the only one in the main set we found that had a double, and then we just saw we had our Yuji here as well. So those are the 2 so far that would let you get up to 5. And again, you could technically play, if you had enough, you could play potentially 6. If you have the other guy, though, you could sacrifice him at the end of the turn to gain extra energy. So he could count as your 5th one as well. Or the other Gojo, as long as he was active, produced an additional one. So there's a couple other different ways you're on. But he also costs 2 of your 3 actions. So he's very powerful. He has Impact 1. When this character attacks and wins a battle, deal 1 damage to your opponent. So he's not going to care who he attacks. Your opponent basically is like, if I block with him, unless I can beat him, he's going to do damage to me. So it might not be worth sacrificing your character. When played, if on the front line, your opponent returns 1 of your characters to their front line to their hand. And then trigger add this card to your hand. So this is kind of nice as well. If you play them right to your front line, you gotta bounce 1 of their characters back. We have 4 copies of Sasaki and Yukichi. So the 2 other guys from the Occult Club, I believe. When attacking, draw a card, then place 1 card from your hand onto your sideline. Nice. It's a very simple character, right? But, you know, you get attacking, you get to draw a card, so it might be worth attacking. Alright, then we have, really cool, we have 1 copy of Sakuna. Cost 4. He has Raid with Yuji. Switch to active and move to the front line. So Raid cards are going to let you basically play this on top of another character as like a powered up form. During your turn, if 1 or more copies of Sakuna's finger are in your sideline, this character gains 1000 BP. If 2 or more copies are in your sideline, gains Impact 1. Ooh, that's fun. When played, draw 2 cards and place 1 card from your hand onto your sideline. Raid. Add this card to your hand, or if you have the required energy, perform Raid with it. Yeah, so Raid's kind of a neat little ability. Yes, I just want to look right here. So some characters have Raid on them. They can be played on the field by stacking them on top of a specified character without Raid. To play these cards on the field, when there are already 4 cards in a line, you must first take a card in the line and place it in the removal area. That might be one or the other will affect. Yeah, so basically this does is it lets them power up. So this should be sometimes just some of the guys that have additional forms or additional upgrades. And this is, yeah, he switches over to Sakuna instead and becomes a really different character. So it's really neat idea. So if you have Yuji out, a couple of Yujis out, you can play him on top. So we don't have to sacrifice another line, and you can boost up one of your other versions. So we got 1 copy of that, and then we got 1 copy that's a foil. This is a really neat foil. It's like how it steps around him. Does all the outside border. You can read the text really well. Which I really like. I hate when they foil it so you can't read the text. But yeah, even like it goes behind the text with his scarf and stuff. So that's pretty cool. I might drop these guys down. We have 4 copies of Megami Fushiguro. So just another cheap version of him to be able to play. And then we get 1 copy of this plus a foil version. They're super rares. So 2 point, cost 4, 2 action points, 4000 BP. This character, when played, choose up to 1 character with 3,000 or less BP on your opponent's field and return it to their hand. Nice, so he's got just a bounce. We have 2 copies of Tokyo Jujutsu High School. So this is our first site card. So costs 3 to play, but it costs 1 action. Play the site set to your active on your field. Main, switch to resting once per turn. You can only activate this ability if you have used an event card this turn. All characters on your field gain 1,000 BP till the end of turn, and trigger get this card in your hand. Yeah, that's kind of neat. So basically, just the idea you can put a character out in your energy zone, and you can eventually move them up to attack if you like to. Putting sights out doesn't give you that, but gives you an additional bonus as well. So here you can keep activating this once per turn to potentially boost all your characters. And our last 2 cards are the same one. We have Jujutsu High First Years. Draw 3 cards and place 2 cards from your hand on your sideline. So yeah, it's another neat common thing it so far seems to have. It has stuff playing with AP, getting to reuse your AP again. And it has lots of stuff about drawing and redrawing cards. Then the last 3 things we got. So if we look on the back of these cards, that's what the Union Arena logo looks like. We have a white one here for our action point cards. And I really love this one. It's like from the their casual looks from the one opening. I really like that. So the booster packs will have additional action point cards in them. They'll just be different artwork. But the thing is, if you only bought booster packs, you could potentially get enough cards to make a deck. But you have to struggle to hope you get enough action points. You only need 3. Technically, you could play with any card. You could pick a regular card, just place it face down. You could use a die. So it's not really that big of a deal. Alright, that's what we have. We're going to call this part 1. Kind of going through the starter deck. Part 2 will come back. We will hop into the 12 card booster packs. And we'll see what's all in there. Get some more cards. We have 100 cards plus 6 types. There's 6 different action points in there. We have 35 commons, 35 uncommons, 18 rares, 12 super rares. It's going to be very interesting to see what we get for all of those. Plus, this pack may include alternative art cards for the above types. Cool. So, hope you guys enjoyed this video. Hit me back up in the comments, and see you guys in the next video. Bye.